Heyo, and welcome back to the Boston Sports Brothers podcast. A beautiful screen in front of us, all five brothers present and accounted for. And we also have Gordo of the Tessie podcast, which is affiliated with WEEI and Audacy. Gordo, how are you tonight? Many thanks for joining us. Great to see you.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Yeah, doing well.
Hey,
Excellent.
good evening. Good evening,
Oh,
guys. Good
sorry.
evening.
Gentlemen, good. See ya. Good to see ya.
Good to see you too, Plotty. Gentlemen, it's been a long time.
This
I know,
is
right?
this is a beautiful sight to see. Fully loaded show this evening, and a fully loaded sports menu to dive into tonight. Lots of things on the docket. So let's get moving and grooving with another Patriots win down in the Big Easy. J Matt, a different kind of game this week, but set the table in terms of what we saw down there. We'll kick it to Gordo after that for his takes, and then we'll go around the horn. Take it away, J Matt.
Victory Monday, 3 Mondays in a row.
Hell
Let's
yeah.
We're
go.
spoiled.
Yeah.
This is crazy. What's going on? I mean, I could get used to this. I don't know about you. This is kind of feeling like the days of old a little bit, you know. Not getting ahead of
That's
myself here, but
me neither, but that's what I was saying. I was like, this is kind of reminiscent.
yeah,
Not,
you know,
don't want to
we're
jump there yet, but
well
So
kind of
six to
feeling that
midnight.
to,
way.
to jump right into that. I mean, we were texting our text chain during the game, and we were both saying we have a team here. We really do. I mean, my biggest takeaways from the 25-19 win against the Saints was that Drake May once again is that dude. He is just incredible, making plays left and right. That little flea flicker, just like the throws downfield. We haven't seen that honestly since Tom. I said that last week. I'm not comparing the two, but we just haven't seen this consistent play at the quarterback since at least the middle of the 2010s, I would say, because Brady, he was still incredible in 2000, 18 and 19 with us, but it was a little bit of a different style of game. So it's been a breath of fresh air. The defense was a little leaky. I think we can all agree on that. We definitely were texting about that in the text chain too. That definitely some things to work on. They're kind of getting cut up left and right in the passing game. It seemed like they took a page out of like the Dolphins of old in the Tua getting it out super quick type of situation, but. Hey, I didn't think, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't think the game was in hand even when it was 16-14 Saints when they went up by a field goal. I really felt like the game was in control, and that's what good teams do is they go back in and they put a drive together and they win it. But one thing that really good teams do is they run the ball, which the Pats have a clear issue in. But Gordon, I want your take. Overall, I thought it was a really great win, good team win. 2 wins on the road in a row is nothing to scoff at. I know that the New Orleans Saints aren't the best team, but you can't scoff at 2 in a row, 3 in a row. So 2 on the road. So what's your take, Gordo?
Yeah, I mean it's weird just because like with being a Patriots fan, it's basically been like the highest of highs every year. Like you just know you're going to be great, and then there was like a couple of years of mid in there, but it's just been lows. And to kind of have this kind of rebound to see a team that actually knows how to play football, which is it's weird to just have that kind of barometer, but we just haven't seen a competent football team in years here. And to see a team that's able to make plays down the field, to throw the ball deep, to get guys open, scheme guys open, and have a quarterback who can make the plays both, moving around in the pocket and throwing the ball deep. It's just been a breath of fresh air. And like, yeah, the schedule is the schedule, and it's not necessarily getting harder. So they'll be the beneficiary of that. So I'm just going to enjoy this ride. And like, yeah, maybe if they had a reasonable schedule, this could have been more of a transition year. But I think based off of the teams that they're going to play, I mean, this is a playoff team that we're watching here. It's just enjoy
Agreed.
the ride, make the baseball offseason a little bit easier for me.
For sure.
Yeah,
Gabe,
no, well, no,
Brad,
I was gonna
jump
say,
in.
yeah, no, I was gonna say, I definitely need to agree. Watching the game, clearly we're lacking in running back depth, so that needs to be addressed. But you can tell with Drake May, just the way that the kid's throwing the ball, that the kid's got something behind his arm. And he's been working with these guys, this past offseason, a couple of the guys he's been working with, and he's kind of built a rapport with, I think, like Booty and Douglas, he kind of came up with. So he's he's building up a rapport with good old Peaches there. And Stephon Diggs is just Stephon Diggs, so he's just gonna do his thing. And then obviously Hunter Henry, I think, needs some respect out there too, as helping him. But for me, that was the biggest thing to see is his development and his arm, and his accuracy, developing over this season. It's that for me has been one of the biggest things. We knew the defense was going to be a strong suit. I didn't realize it was going to be that kind of a messy game for them, but I don't expect that moving forward. Vrabel's a very defensive minded guy, mind you. He was, play for the Patriots, learn the Patriot way and all that stuff. So I'm not really too concerned in that aspect. I'm really more concerned in our running back depth. I feel like that might come to bite us in the ass. Ramondre, as we all know, drops the ball on every other carry. But for me, that's my biggest takeaway is running back depth is an issue.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say. Oh, go ahead, Eric.
No, you first, Gabe.
I
You
was
were
just
going in.
gonna shout out Kayshon Boutte and Will Campbell returning to their LSU roots in New Orleans. They both really showed
Peaches.
out for what used to be their kind of like home crowd in a sense. Uh, Gordo, we call Kayshon Boutte Peaches. I want to see if you approve of this nickname. Because the butt emoji is a peach. So rather than shouting, booty, we call him Peaches. What do
I
you
like
think
that.
about that?
That's good. That's clever. I like that.
It's pretty good, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
But
Maybe a few Miss New Booty references too during the game yesterday as well.
oh yeah,
Not for
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I can't stand when people call him. You hear it. You still hear it. Boutte. Like, come on.
It's booty.
Let's,
Nope.
let's get it right.
Just say it. Just say it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Is
other
it
than
fair?
that, you guys really kind of nailed it. The Patriots did what they had to do down in New Orleans. It wasn't maybe the prettiest of games. I hate to trash on the referees, but it was just awful on both sides. Ticky-tacky offensive pass interference calls, ticky-tacky defensive pass interference calls. It was had me yelling at the bar, for sure. People around me were like definitely looking at me like, what the hell is this kid doing? But it was just it was frustrating. I think a lot of people probably weren't watching the Patriots or Saints game, but it's a prime example of uh, how kind of the decline of the officiating in the NFL has gone, and I'm sure you
Sketchy.
guys have a lot of thoughts on that as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll jump in here. I'll get to the officiating later. I have some other thoughts, especially from one other game that happened yesterday as well. You covered some great things about the officiating. I think the big thing that I would just cover for the Pats game on the officiating is call it consistently both ways. There was that call for OPI against Diggs, and
Oh,
then literally, I think it was not the next play, but it was very close. It might have been two plays later. Hollins had his arm literally grabbed by the defender, and they didn't call defensive PI for that. So listen, I didn't love the PI call against Diggs, but if you're going to call that, you have to call it the other way. So just be consistent. I think for the most part, the offensive play calling was great, but I still have some issues with some of the play calling on third down, specifically runs with our running backs that we're not getting anywhere on the ground. And I would really love to see some more like screens and some ways to get our running backs involved in a different way than just, hey, let's just run it up the middle. And especially for someone like Henderson and Stevenson, to his credit, can be great at receiving the ball. Let's put them in better positions. Similarly, I would also love to see maybe some of our wide receivers involved in the run game. That's something that you see the Chiefs do. That's something that you see the Lions involved in. I'm not saying that we have the same talent as those teams on our receiving corps, but let's add a little bit of a wrinkle and do something a little bit different.
Mhm.
Two other thoughts that I thought were really interesting as well is I want to give Vrabel and John Stretch a lot of credit for the challenges they called in the game. To be able to call those challenges down the stretch, pivotal moments, especially the last one, to say that Booty was inbounds instead of out of bounds. That was literally the game right there because it just meant the team could knee it and go and basically call it a game. So I thought that Vrabel did a really good job of coaching in the game as well. And then last thing is I think we dodged the bullet with Landry looking like he was potentially injured. Them going to a timeout, him looking like he was going to the blue tent, and then turning around and seeing him standing there like 10 minutes later gave me a lot of hope because he is by far and away our best pass rusher. And if we lose him, our defense is not nearly as multifaceted as it should be. So those are my big thoughts. And, it feels good to be on Victory Monday, three weeks in a row. And promising schedule up ahead. So a little return to Tennessee for Mike Vrabel next week. You know that he really wants to get that going.
Revenge game, baby, for the now head coachless Tennessee Titans firing Brian Callahan today after a 1-5 start this year, 4-19. You guys hit everything on the head. I think the biggest takeaway for me is that this Patriots team has reset expectations now for the year. I think you're looking at a playoff team, God willing, a team that's potentially going to compete for a division against Buffalo, especially given how the schedule maps itself out.
And the win against them in Buffalo.
which is huge, absolutely huge, which brings that game to New England to be huge. 3-0 on the road for the Pats. They got to take advantage of being at Gillette now and use that to their advantage, make that a hard place to play for opponents. And the biggest thing is you have a quarterback. I mean, to have Drake May and a guy that's keeping you in every single game here is not something that we've seen as J-Mac kicked us off since the TB12 days. So this, I don't know what this team's ceiling is because they haven't played their best football yet either. Like this team still has lots of things that they need to try and clean up and take it things to another level. So it's exciting. Keep the good wave rolling, as Gordo said. And we'll hit on a few other NFL things in oh yeahs and yeah ohs, and but there's also a big sport that's in the midst of its playoffs right now. And Gordo's here; it's his expertise, and Kraz is here. The Red Sox are Sam's baby, Gordo, and he's our resident Red Sox expert. So Sam's put together sort of a whole topic list in terms of things that we can dive into for the offseason on the Red Sox, and then as I said, we'll do the lightning round. So Kraz, take it away on the Red Sox. Gordo, we'll get your thoughts on what he says. Anything from your end as well that you want the people to know, and then we'll keep the thing moving and grooving. Kraz, take it away.
Yeah, sure. Let's start with, Red Sox offseason expectations, and then we can kind of talk about the ALCS and the NLCS moving forward. One thing I want to talk about is, first off the bat, Bregman hasn't opted out, hasn't really made any really remarks about his contract status other than his wife posting something about how they love Boston pretty much. I don't think that should be the biggest thing. Um, but again, uh, Breslow was quoted as saying, when there is a chance to build a winner and a team that can contend for the postseason, resources aren't a problem. And we've talked a lot about how this window has uh, of contention is upon us. So that to me tells me that they're going to spend in the offseason. The biggest thing that I talked about the last couple of episodes with this team is the Red Sox needing a number two, and then also a little bit of bullpen help, and then kind of solidifying that first base position. I know we have Tristan Casas, but there's a lot of things going around as far as what first base is going to be. Um, as far as trade bait goes, Gordo, I don't know how much you've heard, but I know Duran's the biggest guy on the trade block, and
Yeah,
there's
get
been a
his
lot of
ass
talk.
out of here.
There's been a lot of talk about Kyle from Waltham coming back. I know he's looking at about 4 years, $100 million, but we'd be getting a big bat back into the lineup, and then we'd also be getting someone that's bringing leadership on top of Bregman and Story, considering Bregman stays with us. But I'm kind of excited to see what this team has to do, and just kind of your overall take on the season, and what you think they need to do moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good stepping forward season for them. There's no doubt about that. And in my eyes, it was a success and what it needed to be, which is you get the kids up here, you see what you have, you know that you can win with it, and you know what you need moving forward. And to me, you said it, the number two starter. I think that's the most obvious need. I think they tipped their hand at the trade deadline. They went really hard after Joe Ryan. They made it pretty clear they think that's a need. And I think you're going to see them try again to go after probably Joe Ryan again this offseason, but there's a few other guys on the market, trade market. I mean, they went after Sandy Alcantara too. It's not as talked about, but they did try to get Sandy as well. And Mackenzie Gore could be another option there. You could dip into the free agent market. Dylan Cease, Mike King, Framber Valdez, Ranger Suarez. Like there's options across the league for a potential number two starter. You don't have to hit the nail quite as hard on the head as you did with Crochet and get that world beater top three starting pitcher in the game type dude. You just need a guy who can go out there and if you need him to win you a playoff game. And there's going to be options. They just got to make the move, spend the money, spend the prospects, however they want to go about it and get it right. And then after that, I do think solidifying your outfield, which those things could come hand in hand. But pick your outfielders, know who you want to move forward with, and figure out the best deal for who's the odd man out, and find a way to get a power hitting DH in the mix. That probably spells the end of Yoshida if you go about it that way. But you need more power in this lineup. Trevor Story leading the team with 25 home runs this year. You don't see teams make it deep in the playoffs without at least one dude who can hit the ball to the ballpark at any moment, and probably multiple if we're being honest with ourselves. And I'm sure they hope that a couple of guys on this team can grow into that, but you need a sure bet. And you brought up Kyle Schwarber. You could accomplish that with Pete Alonso as well. Maybe a guy like Eugenio Suarez. There's a couple others that could do it, but if you're the Red Sox, the time to win is now, and you really have to put your best foot forward to put the best team on the field right now when you have a team that can do it.
And Gordo,
Go ahead, Jimmy.
I like what you're saying about all those guys that they can go and get, and those are all theoreticals. But the team that they had this year, and everyone kept saying it was like this year was a win, it was a good year, and I don't disagree. But they could have made so many more impactful moves at the trade deadline, and they still could be in it right now in the ALCS. Granted, we're watching Seattle and the Blue Jays playing, and there was a month left, and the Red Sox were, I think, what, 3 games behind the Blue Jays at one point, and they really could have made a push for first place, especially if you have a Joe Ryan that they could have made a trade for. So it just what they could have done really is a miss in my eyes, and they could have gone out and they could have made a real effort with the team on the field this year and made a bigger run and had a chance to go get a World Series, in my opinion. But overall, I think it was a good year, but they just the offseason just, I mean, the front office was just such a miss at the trade deadline. I think it was just you can't really come back from that. I mean, I hope they can. I hope they make the moves this offseason, but we'll see. We'll see what they do. I'm still not fully bought in on them yet.
Yeah,
Again,
I mean,
it's tough. I was gonna say it's tough when your number 2 starter goes down or your number 2 or number 3 starter goes down like a day before the playoffs go out. I mean, that's big. That completely depleted our bullpen. And Gordo, you can kind of go into it because I know you had a take.
Yeah, but they didn't make any effort to like get someone rather than go with what they had.
The issue to me is even if they had the pitching down the stretch, and obviously they didn't, and yeah, to your point, Josh, like the trade deadline, they needed to end up with a better starting pitcher than Dustin May. And clearly, they put all their eggs in the Joe Ryan basket, and it just didn't work. And there's no real excuse to end up with Dustin May as your pitching addition based on what they needed. But a big part of why they floundered down the stretch and didn't make a better run at the Blue Jays for the division was the offense. And really, at the deadline, there wasn't a ton of room to add to the offense anywhere besides first base. And in the end, like, yeah, maybe they could have ended up with Suarez or Naylor, and that would have helped. But the offense was a completely different unit when Roman Anthony went down. I mean, they might have been able to make a run at the Blue Jays even with the pitching that they had Roman Anthony stayed healthy. I mean, there's just a difference in what the lineup looked like and the production from before he got there, when he got there, and when he was no longer in the lineup. I mean, it was staggering how impactful a 21-year-old can be that quickly, but he really was all that.
He's a potential MVP candidate down the line, like top 10 player in baseball, which is probably the most exciting part about having a guy like him on your team. I go back to what Don Darrow said last week, the Devers trade as well. Just you didn't get enough back in that trade, and that could have been the impact that J-Matt that you're talking about. Could you have waited until the trade deadline to increase the value of that? I get it. It was addition by subtraction. We've talked about it repeatedly, but at the same time, you didn't get the return. You shed the salary now. If you're going to make it whole and get J-Matt to buy in fully and Big E to buy in fully, which is a tough task, you're going to have to go and spend that money this offseason and go make it happen. Big E or Gabe, any Sox thoughts, anything that you're hoping to see them do? Go ahead, Big E.
Yeah, Gordo, I have a question for you. I think we all agree that there's like a logjam in the outfield. There's too many guys. And I think the prevailing notion is, yeah, there's one that needs to go. I think it might be two, though, because Christian Campbell, when he was down in Worcester this year, didn't really play much at second. He was more of an outfielder. And if they envision him to come on up, it seems like that they need to have two guys that need to be moved instead of one. What are your thoughts on that? I'm just kind of curious your take.
Yeah, I mean, I say this as a full believer in Christian Campbell and what he can be for this team longer term. But to me, like, I need to see it before I'm trading proven dudes to get him in the lineup every day. I mean, we saw it this year, both on the pitching side of things and the offensive side of things. Like, guys go down and you're going to need guys to step in. Like, to me, if I were making the decisions here, I would trade one of those outfielders, and then Christian Campbell, obviously he's got to earn his way back. Even though he got the extension, he is going to have to earn his way back onto the team and into the lineup, and he's going to get his shot based off of how versatile he can be. Like, if you can play a big league left field and center field and second base or first base, like the second any of those guys goes down, or even if the shortstop goes down and whoever's playing second, Meyer, maybe Story, moves over to short, and you get your shot that way, like you're creating a lot of opportunities for yourself to get in the lineup. And if he gets in the lineup and he plays well, then we could be having the same conversation at the deadline or even next offseason, where it's like, okay, now we have another outfield logjam. Like, obviously Christian Campbell needs to be in the outfield. We need to trade another one of these guys. Maybe Maybe at that point it's Willie. Maybe at that point it's Campbell himself. Maybe at that point you trust one of those guys in center and you start talking Sadon. But I would feel a little bit uncomfortable trading two of those outfielders to put all my eggs in the Campbell basket, just based off of how it went after the month of April this year.
Yeah, it's go ahead, Gabe.
I mean, yeah, I become a bit of a bandwagon MLB fan once the Red Sox are out of the playoffs. Um, I don't mean to switch topics here, but just the matchups for the ALCS and the NLCS. You got the Mariners in there, who I believe have never won a World Series. You got the Brewers facing off against the Dodgers and another that could be a fun series as well. In my opinion, I would love to see the Mariners and Brewers go at it in the World Series. I don't know how that would do for ratings, but it just would be something a little different and a little more exciting, I think, for the general fan base of
What
the
baseball
MLB.
fans want.
Yeah,
Yeah,
give the
and
small town market some love.
yeah, I mean, it's like it's just always fun to hopefully see the Dodgers flounder in the playoffs, and obviously can't really root for the Blue Jays being an AL East foe. So, Gordo, I just wanted to get your opinion on those two matchups. Who you're rooting for? What do you hope to see? And have you been kind of tuning into all that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, gotta soak in any last bit of baseball while I can. I'm rooting for the Mariners. That's the team I'm latching on to the rest of the way. Sammy on play, Tessie, his girlfriend is a big Mariners fan, and I've always been a fan of their teams. I don't really know why. Maybe it's because they haven't won a ton and they haven't hurt me. Like a lot of teams around the league at this point, they've hurt me at one point or another. But I mean, obviously for the league, like they're gonna want the Dodgers there, and everyone will root for whoever they play. But I actually think the Brewers have a shot to take the Dodgers down. The Dodgers pitching just to get to this point, and they fell kind of ass backwards into Roki Sasaki as the closer, and that's kind of helped stabilize things. But you saw them even almost blow one of those games in the NLDS against the Phillies. That would have been just an epic collapse in a big game for them. But yeah, I mean it's both fun watches. I mean I think the Blue Jays will fight their way back into the series, although I do think the Mariners are a better built team. That's the team with the best starting pitching. That's the team with the most power hitters in the lineup. Hit home runs in October. That's how you score runs at this time of year. And I think if they get to the World Series, they'd have a good shot to beat whichever team they play. The Dodgers, I get they're the Dodgers, but they may be the fourth best team in this thing right now.
And in J Matt's argument, in his case, what did the Mariners do at the trade deadline? They went out and made some really big moves,
Yep.
and they're vying for a World Series spot. So I get your frustration, Josh. Like I also feel like I wish the Red Sox pushed a little more buttons there to try to make a deeper playoff run. But I also see Gordo's point, and it's like they're building towards something bigger here, and I think it's still something that we can all be excited for.
Also, like game 5 ALDS, like with the Mariners, how can you not feel like that team might be a team of destiny after winning that game? That game was an all-out slugfest. And their arms, like whoever went in and pitched, especially later in the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th inning, like just absolute nail. So I'm kind of with you, Gordo. I got to root for the Mariners. They have not been that team that's hurt us. Actually, like my memories of the Mariners are them being
Ken
hurt
Griffey,
by the
baby.
Yankees, being hurt by the Yankees in like unbelievably like terrible fashion. So, just kind of knowing that that's the team that's hurt them in the past. They haven't hurt us. And Dumper is such a likable superstar. Got to root for those guys.
Gordo, you think Dumper is in line for MVP or Aaron Judge is going to take it away again?
I still think it's Judge. You look at, I mean, I know Big Dumpers, he's got the home runs and he plays catcher and he's a good defensive catcher at that. But you look at every single stat across the board, like Aaron Judge has him comfortably in pretty much everything besides home runs. Like I would love to see the big dumper, Cal Raleigh, the funny looking dude who can hit 60 home runs. He's got a mustache and he's got a dad who forced him and his brother to switch hit because for the hell of it. And now he's like a big league superstar. Like I'd love to see that dude in Seattle win the MVP, but I just think the year Aaron Judge had and the impact he had on that team is undeniable.
Yeah, let him have it. He was so worthy, and hope he enjoys his MVP. And Enjoys the trip to Cancun that he's on right now
Yeah,
too. So,
exactly.
It's
Hey,
so. Go ahead,
Judge
Gabe.
Judge did step up this
no,
postseason, I will
he's
say.
good.
He finally kind of bit that bug a little bit, but it's still nothing to show for it. So he can keep
The
petting his MVPs and
the best
whatever he
part
needs to do.
of what you just said, Gabe, is he did have the moment, and how many Yankees fans are like, "This was supposed to be the moment that like changed everything for the
And then he
playoffs,"
gets
and
bounced
it's
the
like,
next game.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like they just, it's that's not the way it goes, and like the Yankees have so much that like if Judge went
Oh, I
down,
have
that'd
more
be
to
a
say about
completely
the
different
Yankees
team.
later.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll save it for later. The NLCS kicks off tonight. Blake Snell on the mound against Aaron Ashby. Brewers and Dodgers kick things off there. And October baseball, nothing like it. Always great to tune into that. These start times have been dog shit though. Like 5 o'clock for an ALCS game, and like what a I don't know. Just the way MLB has scheduled these playoffs has been trash.
Two
But
o'clock Seattle time. Like those people are in the in their office
and
chairs
Dodger,
streaming the
yeah,
game on their
Dodger.
laptops.
And Dodger Stadium is half empty at the start of a game four. I forget if it was the last round of the wild card or the wild card round, but like they gotta do better. Like that, it's just garbage. So, we'll see what happens here. It's exciting. I hope these small market teams make it in. Red Sox, lots of things that they need to do this offseason to get to that level, to level up and get to the ALCS next year with well, why am I like short circuiting here? They need to get to the ALCS next year and take things to another level. All right, let's get into the lightning round and talk about all these great questions that we have for Gordo. Gordo, sort of first thing that comes to mind. Gabe, kick us off.
All right. First question in the lightning round. What got you into baseball and your fandom for the Boston Red Sox
Well,
or
okay, so
baseball in
that
general?
yeah, I mean that all started when I was a kid. I mean, my dad would have all the games on in the living room at night, and it just kind of became what we did. Like I would come home from school, do whatever. He'd come home from work. We'd have dinner. The Red Sox would be on, and some of my first baseball memory was Aaron Boone walking them off in '03. But then shortly after that, my next baseball memories were all awesome things with the 2004 team. Like Manny Ramirez became my favorite player, and I started just going to games with my dad, and I played baseball as a kid. Like it was always, I don't know, I just latched onto it. You play like backyard baseball and MVP baseball, '05 with Manny on the cover with your friends. It's just like morning, noon, and night. Like even if it's not necessarily on purpose, it just ends up being like most of what I'm doing. So it's just always the way it's been for me. It's always surrounded the game. I think it's just an awesome way to spend 6 months of the year, just having that safety net every single night that you're going to come home and there's going to be a game on. And you don't get, even though the other sports like basketball and hockey, there's a lot of games. It's not every single night the way baseball is. And that could be a detriment to some people. Some people might have a hard time keeping up with it because of that. But for me, I love the fact that it's always there. Whenever you like, doesn't matter what kind of day you had, good or bad, you can come home, Sox are going to be on your TV.
Great,
I
love
gotta
that.
say, it's a lifestyle, baby. It's a
Yeah.
lifestyle. So, you're kind of touching on 2003, spanning into, 2025 now. Do you have a signature moment in mind, or is there one that stands out to you more than the others
Well,
for the Sox?
if we're talking signature moments, I was in the crowd when Ortiz hit the grand slam in 2013 to tie the game off Benoit.
Well, yeah,
And
Oh,
I mean, you can't get really any bigger than
yeah,
that.
it's like there's been a lot of really cool shit that has happened over the years. Like I was at the wild card game in 21 too with my dad, and like that Xander homer in the first inning, the way Fenway erupted for that. I mean, there's been some really cool moments, but I've never experienced the shock because like in that moment, yes, he hit the grand slam to tie the game, but they couldn't buy a hit in the series to that point.
Hmm.
And you're down 4 runs. It's the eighth inning. They're bringing in their stud, and the fact that the game got like it didn't even compute in my head as a possibility. And all of a sudden, like the ballpark is just off the rocker. It's in disarray. Couldn't believe my eyes when I watched that.
Oh yeah.
Anniversary of that game, I believe, today or yesterday. So,
I think so.
uh,
Yeah.
that's the
yeah,
one with the cough that's like this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
so good. The
I think I
bearded
think I
cop, the
think
beard, yeah.
We met him.
Plotty chronically hurt my back.
That game.
Tori
So,
Tori Hunter goes fine. Go ahead, J Matt.
Gordo, I got a good one for you. So, what's your favorite Fenway pre and post game spot. And I want you to think outside the box here. It could be that storefront right next to Cascade Flagon if you're into that. It could be a concert venue if you're in the area. So yeah, what's your favorite spot in the area, Fenway area?
I go back and forth on game days. I really like the vibe at the bullpen.
Okay.
It's a really really cool spot. You got like kind of the like the younger crowd goes there. It feels kind of hidden, even though it's not really. And then on non game days, I honestly I really like Yard House. That's just kind of where we go, especially in the off season. Like I associate it with being freezing, like freezing my ass off walking from wherever I can park my car over there. But yeah, those are my two favorite spots. I like to make a trip into the team store. Like they got that back room with all like the memorabilia, the signed stuff, the used bats and stuff. Stuff shuffles in and out of there, and like I like to make a couple of trips into that spot, kind of the beginning and the end of the year to see what's in there.
Love the Yard House. Go ahead, Biggie.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we'll keep it rolling with where your favorite things are in the area. But outside of the Red Sox and Fenway Park, what's your favorite thing to do in the city?
You know, I I love going to the games, man. Like if it's the off season, like I love going to Celtics games. I've only been to a few Bruins games, but hockey in person. When I was in college, I interned with the Wizards, so the Caps play in the same arena, so I used to go to tons of Caps games too. And something about hockey in person is just it's so much fun. I really do. I just like everything I like to do surrounds sports. It's just like it feels like kind of generic in a way. Like I'm just like not like this like artsy history kind of guy. Like I appreciate that Boston is a really cool spot for that stuff. But like I just love having something to go and to like cheer for or have something on the line with and feel that kind of pressure. And you just can't get that really anywhere else besides at the ballpark or at the arena for rooting on whichever team.
It's been a pretty great 25 years to be rooting for Boston sports. So I think, we're all fortunate to have been alive during this period of time.
Yeah,
Gordo.
I genuinely think that's why I'm the way I am is because there's just been so much winning. Like it's just been fun. Like would I be a huge baseball fan if I grew up in Pittsburgh? I don't know.
Ooh, probably. I mean, I hope you would be because it sounds like you love the game, but
Yeah.
those poor Pirates fans.
The
Yeah, jump in.
reliever after reliever.
Gordo, are you a collector of memorabilia or like sports cards or anything like that?
Yeah, I've gone through a bunch of phases like collecting signed baseballs, collecting baseball cards. Like I've got I'm like building out this man cave down here. I've got signed jerseys down here hanging on the wall. I got like Isaiah Thomas, Manny, Gronk,
Oh,
Trout. I got a Vladdy one that I'm trying to figure out Vlad Jr. where I'm trying to figure out where I want to put it. I found this awesome memorabilia shop in New Hampshire called Buds. If you haven't seen it, it's unbelievable.
I'm
It's
gonna
like
check it out.
the selection is off the charts and the prices you wouldn't believe it.
All right, Buds, it is. Where in
I
New
love
Like
Hampshire
that.
do you have
free
them now?
ads, but like I'm telling you, I couldn't believe my eyes.
Hey, we're all for it. We're all for it. Wherever we can take the people for good sports things, we're here for that. One other thing to shout out. Somebody asked a question: things and places to go in Fenway. Eastern Standard. If you haven't been there,
Oh
Gordo,
yeah.
give that a check out. Nice little upscale dinner or date spot.
Ooh.
Great spot to check out. Eastern Standard. Let's take this thing home, Gordo. We really can't thank you enough for jumping on with us, talking Pats and Red Sox tonight. I think what we'd love to know and would love to let the audience know is where they can find you on the socials, where they can learn more about Play Tessie, the podcast you do, and any other content that you have going on.
Hell yeah, yeah. We got Play Tessie. You can follow the pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. It's just at Play Tessie everywhere. You can find me on Twitter. I'm BOS Sports Gordo there. During the season, we do radio on Saturdays with WEEI before the games. That cools down in the off season. I've been doing some stuff with Nesson. I'll be on tomorrow morning, and it's I think it's most Tuesdays. I kind of TBD for the off season, but doing a lot of stuff with them too. So it's been a grind, but like it's super rewarding. I love doing it. I appreciate all the support I've gotten from people. I love coming on shows like the one you guys got here. It's super cool to just be able to talk shop with dudes who love the same shit that I do. So I really appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, man.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
It's a credit to
Yeah,
you.
thanks for coming on, dude.
You've built a presence on social media and certainly with some of the other opportunities that you've been doing. And that's really how we found you and getting into this. Like you were one of the first people that we saw was like uh, consistently always on top of the Red Sox and what's going on. You do an excellent job. Obviously, there's others. I look at someone like Noah Dalzell who does that with the Celtics as well. And like,
She's great.
yeah, and like, but this like way of being able to cover the team that integrates like the media and the clips and everything, but also your fandom showing through is awesome. So continued success to you and all your ventures moving forward. We'll be tuning into everything you got going on. So check out Gordo. Be sure to follow him on socials. Check out the Play Tessie podcast and tune into WEEI. He may be on your radio one day. You never know. So Gordo, can't thank you enough for joining us. Have a great rest of your night. We're going to take this episode home and wrap things up here. Take care, brother.
Sounds good. Appreciate you guys. See you later.
Hey, thanks for coming
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Man. It was a
Thanks,
Thanks,
pleasure.
Gordo.
Thanks again.
Appreciate it.
It was a pleasure.
All right, Boston Sports Gordo, WEEI, Play Tessie Pod, great dude. Thank him for coming on. Gabe's got the Bruins background, and they had a game that was all over the place today as we record on Monday. Gabe, we haven't had a Bruins minute with you in quite some time, but I'm excited for it. The floor is yours.
I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I think unexpectedly, we didn't think the Bruins would come off to a 3-1 start here. But here we are. They had a really tough loss today, earlier this afternoon against the Lightning. They went down 4-1 at one point, but were starting to climb back and just couldn't get that last goal to tie it up. One thing I noticed that's different from this year to last year is that they're really playing hard for their coach. They're I think, as we put it in the group chat, a gritty team, not Philadelphia Flyers gritty. Fuck that guy. But just a gritty team overall. I think they're going to be like Sweeney and Neely wanted, is a tough team to play against. And, I'm cautiously optimistic about the team so far. They did start off hot last season as well, and you know how that went. So we'll see. They have a really tough stretch coming up. They're going on the West Coast trip. They're playing Vegas and the Avalanche and the Mammoth. So those are tough matchups. We'll see how they do on the road. Just one thing or a couple of things just that I noted here. One, it seems like the team is comfortable splitting time between Swayman and Korpisalo in net. They've each had 2 starts in the first 4 games. Personally, I'm not digging that. I hope that's not a trend for the rest of the season. I really want to see Swayman out there way more than Korpisalo. He gives you way more to offer in net. They paid him to be that guy. So I hope in the future that Swayman gets more games in net. He's started off really hot this year. And it's only been 2 games that he's played, but his numbers are way better than they were at this time last year. And then another point is the new guys from last year, Elias Lindholm and Zadorov, have actually come into form this season. It's looking like Lindholm has 4 points in 4 games. Zadorov, I think, is a +4, and he's looking like a dominant force on the defense. So those are really positive things that are happening in Bruins land right now. Unfortunately, Hampus Lindholm has gone down with another injury. I don't think it's related to last year, but still kind of is now. We're already testing our defensive depth, and that's really what the Bruins are relying on this year, is goalie and defense, because the offense is, it's been better than I thought it would be, but it's still a bit suspect. So if I had to go 2 up, I would say Elias Lindholm, Nikita Zadorov. 2 down, I don't know. Morgan Geekie hasn't really done it for me so far this year on that first line. Charlie McAvoy hasn't really done it for me so far this year. So we'll see. I mean, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the Bruins in this kind of good start that they have.
I think they're playing a style of hockey that they'll win. The style they're playing is going to win them some games and win them some points, regardless of like the who they have on the ice. The talent is not as good as it's been in past years, and I think we can agree on that. And the reality is, it's they're not going to be fighting for a Stanley Cup in my aspect. I just don't think they have that. I think there is a talent gap between them and the really horses of the league. Unfortunately, the Panthers and the Carolina Panthers, not the Carolina Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers. But the style of the 3-1 start, you can't be mad at that. I do agree with you, Gabe. I think the splitting goalie time is bullshit. You're paying Swayman to be the horse, to be the number one, and if you want any chance of doing anything this year and going anywhere like in the playoffs, he needs to be your number one goalie, and he needs to like take what 65 to 70% of the starts, probably something like that. So that's what I think that has to happen, and if they want to go anywhere. But 3-1 start, playing well, good coach. Can't be mad at that. I just, the talent gap, the bottom six is really, I think, what's going to hold them back. So we'll see, though. I mean, I could be wrong, and again, it's early, but we'll see what happens.
It's been an encouraging start. I've watched way more hockey in the first four games than I feel like I have in many seasons, especially to get it going. Um, the offense has been okay. Defense, a little bit leaky, especially today to the way that game started. The good fight to try and tie it up there at the end, but didn't really have it. At the end of the third period to break it through. Uh, I agree on the goaltending front. Korpisalo cannot be in there. He looked like he was just lost a few times today. And so, listen, it's a wildly encouraging start though. The same way that nobody had the Patriots probably at 4-2 and looking at the playoffs, the same way nobody had these Bruins at 3-1. A few things on a couple of players. Fraser Minton has been encouraging offensively. Has put the puck in the back of the net. You got to get Pasta going a little bit more and get him to light the lamp a little bit. And then the kids in Providence, like Merkelov and Lizelle and these guys that like I feel like you hear these fucking names all the time, but they're not up here with the big club. Like if offense becomes an issue, it sounds like there might be, some resources and reinforcements down in Providence. So encouraging start for the Bruins. So like it was much better than I anticipated, Gabe. Much better.
Yeah, and I mean, no shade to Korpisalo. Like, he's made some incredible saves. That game against the Chicago Blackhawks, he was unbelievable in that overtime, and he's really the reason they won. And then, like you said, Fraser Minton put in that OT goal the same game, and that was really exciting to see just because the Bruins haven't really had prospects that have popped like that in a while. Um, and yeah, and as opposed to like what you just said, Fabian Lysell and Matthew Poitras, like those guys, like they need to start to step up and really like make a push to make this NHL roster. And they did start doing that last night. I believe Lysell had a 4-point game. He had a hat trick, and Poitras had 4 assists. Again, down in the AHL. So it's like it's good to see them doing well down there, but when it comes to bringing them up to the NHL level, it seems like it just falls off and they can't figure it out. So that's been definitely disappointing. I wonder if maybe you could package them into a trade and try to get a top six forward or something like that to help
Mhm.
out this club in later season if they continue to do well down there. But yeah, hey, I'll take a 3-1 start. I did not think that's how it was going to go, and here we are.
Just a
Here we
quick
are.
note on today's game as well. I think just from looking at like the pundits prior to the season, and this is before the Panthers had more injuries, but Panthers are clearly very injury bitten right now, and it's going to be a very tall task for them to come back and repeat. Does not mean that it's not possible. They're obviously still have some great players on the team, including one Brad Marchand, who we're very familiar with. But Tampa is looked at right now as the favorite to come out of the Atlantic. So while it is a disappointing loss, to be in a 4-1 hole. I think it's encouraging the fact that they were able to come back and make it somewhat of a game. So while I am discouraged by the loss, I think we have to look at it through a couple different lenses, knowing that Tampa is a team that we're aspiring to kind of get to that level to be. So
For
just a
sure.
little quick note on that.
No, that's a great point. And Tampa Bay was coming into our barn today 0-2. So, they were hungry for a win and they were putting it to the Bruins for a while until we had a little comeback there. But yeah, Tampa Bay and Florida are definitely a couple of the favorite contenders for this year.
I do think Tampa had their backup goalie in, though. Just want to point
They
that
did.
out.
Yeah.
Vasilevsky wasn't in, so.
Yeah.
Well, Bruins off to a good start. I do agree. Marco Sturm is a coach that, seems to be pressing the right buttons as well, Gabe. So good to see, you don't have the shit show with Swayman. You don't have the shit show from the coaching standpoint. Hopefully all the distractions out of the way. This team focuses on what's on the ice and what's in front of them. What's in front of us right now, though, is a quick Celtics minute and Big E, who's gotten us up to speed on everything going on with a couple preseason games under the belt. Big E, give us the lowdown.
Yeah, 3 preseason games in, a 2-1 record, dominant in two of the games against Memphis and against Cleveland. Both of those games had a lot of backups in. Pretty dominant against the game in Toronto that they ended up losing until they took their foot off the gas in the second
Yeah.
half. So a little bit disappointing
Was
about
it a
that. I think
27 comeback? 27 point
20,
comeback or something?
yeah, I mean, first of all, Toronto,
Happens.
way to celebrate like winning
A
a
preseason
preseason
game.
a preseason comeback game like it was like a playoff game. So cool, good for you guys. I think the big thing that I've noticed so far in the preseason is the Celtics are not playing real NBA talent against the other opponents. Most teams are sitting the majority of their players. The Celtics are guilty of that too. They haven't played a majority of their roster in the games or their starting lineup in the games that they played so far. But I do think what I have seen so far in the games that I have watched is the starters and role players that are returning from the past year's team have all seemed to pick up exactly where they left off, all doing really, really well. All guys that we're not worried about. These are all guys that we feel confident are going to be a big part of our future going forwards. But I think the intriguing part about our team right now is there is obviously a lot of new additions. The Celtics had to trade off a lot of guys on their roster that were role players or starters just due to the way the CBA is constructed. Thank you, Golden State Warriors, for rigging the deck against the league for so long that the league said, hey, we're not going to let this happen anymore. And that's why the Celtics are in the position that they're in right now. But a couple guys that I wanted to kind of just call on out real quick is Minot. Minot, he had this nickname in Minnesota, which is where he was from, called the Lawnmower. He clearly has a high motor. He stuffs the stat sheet. It's a small sample size, but the dude just seems like he has earned a spot to be in the rotation and to be a guy that is called off the bench repeatedly. And I think he could end up being one of these guys in the offseason that we look back a year, 2 years from now and say, hey, is another diamond in the rough that Brad found, similar to like a Luke Cornett or another guy like that we've seen, or Sam Hauser that we've developed here in our time. Luka Garza, he's an interesting guy. He's a guy who dominated in college in Iowa. He's a guy who is a very good screener. He has a lot of potential. He's going to get a lot of rebounds, whether it's offensively or defensively, but he does look lost defensively at times. So that's going to be something that they're going to have to work on. And
Just
you know,
like
I
Luka
know,
Doncic.
I think I'd rather take the other Luca if I had an opportunity to choose between the two. But Luca Garza is intriguing, and if he can really work on his defense and being where he needs to be, I think he will earn minutes. I think he's going to earn minutes regardless, just because we have a weird rotation at center at the 5 and the 4, so he will see minutes. And then last guy I want to shout out is Hugo Gonzalez, or actually two other guys. Hugo Gonzalez, we'll get to him real quick. He is obviously the first round pick the Celtics drafted from Real Madrid. He is extremely young. He's 19, but dude, does he hustles. Defense is his calling card. And he kind of reminds me a little bit of a Marcus Smart, just like he's constantly being involved in plays. He never lets anything like gives up on anything. There's a lot of potential for what he can develop into. I know offense really isn't his forte, but he's also very, very young, and I know that they're going to work with him on that. So I expect to see him getting some minutes this year as well as a guy that we see to be a rotational player. And then the guy that I'm really most excited about is Chris Boucher. He has been a Celtics killer in the past when he was on Toronto. And there was a moment, I believe, about 2 seasons ago where we were playing the Raptors, and he famously, after a timeout, bumped into Joe Mazzulla, and Mazzulla had to be held back because Mazzulla is a tough guy and said like he was going to go fight him. It's funny, they actually talked about it recently. They're like, Mazzulla's like, I love that. I hope he never changes. That's the type of guy I want on my team. But he plays way bigger than his size. He's 6'9". He's definitely someone that is going to be playing a lot. I think a lot of people think that Keita is going to be getting the starting spot, and he very well might. But I think we're going to see Boucher starting at center a lot this year as well. Whether that's him taking over the gig, or Keita getting injured, which we never hope happens, but it's a real possibility in the NBA, playing 82 games. So really excited about Chris Boucher. He seems to have that intensity. He seems to be that guy that whether he's playing with the starters, the role players, he's going to have a big impact on the game.
Sure is. I mean, those are all the players that I've been saying that you have to see who of these guys is going to integrate into this roster and become part of that rotation. You look at a guy like Shireman and Anthony Simons as well, that look to make this team and provide offensive and defensive prowess for them. Any Celtics takes, boys, as we head into the opening of the season next week versus
Big E summed it up.
Big E
Crazy.
gave us the lowdown, which was great.
I
That's
mean,
exactly what we
one
need.
thing is like they just have basically what you said is they have a lot of depth, and like That's good for a team without Jason Tatum to start the year. It sounds like he's probably going to be back at some point during the year, which is really crazy and exciting. But it's going to be hard making a final roster for the Celtics team, and who's going to go to Maine and who's going to stay up with the club. And I'm curious to see what Brad does in that situation.
No doubt. Good to have depth throughout the entire organization. It's good to have the depth back here on the podcast tonight. Full squad here, but we roll deep, as you know. Sometimes it might be two, sometimes it might be three or four. We make sure we have everything covered. Tonight it's all five. And tonight, return of the best segment of the week with all five of us. It's time for it. Big E, take it away.
Yeah, it's my favorite time of the week. It's the time that we talk about the things that, in my opinion, kind of suck, the things that we hate, the things that make us go, yeah, oh, like get out of here. We hate those things. And then there's the opposite side of the coin. They're the things that we love, the things that we think are stupendous, fantastic, wondrous, the things that make me get up in the morning and go, oh, yeah. Who's
Oh,
got
yeah.
an oh, yeah or yeah, oh this week?
Should
Krause
we
boy.
start with? I was gonna say, should we start with the Yaos first? But I'll just jump into it. I'll start with the oh yeah.
Yeah, go
So
for the
I'm
oh
sure
yeah.
you guys have all seen it, but a win for a Red Sox fan is a Yankees loss, and the Yankees lose has now become a
Does
big
Yankees lose?
a huge thing to the point where he was Big Poppy was doing it with Vladdy and like consistently like rubbing it right in Jeter's face. I
Oh,
mean,
nothing better.
I
Had that
think
on
at one,
repeat, repeat.
I think at one point, one of the Yankees losses, he like pulled out a bottle of Casamigos and was like, "You're going to Cancun, enjoy." And he's just been like, for all of the shit that's been out there as far as commentators and their their disdain for Boston sports, it's finally great to have Big Poppy be in there and just be able to rub it right back in their faces. So that was great to see. And just a really fun fact for all you Yankees fans that are listening, of your 27 rings, 20 of them became before 1968, which was when they had an ALCS and an ALDS, meaning there was an actual fucking postseason. So before 1968, if you were the best team in the AL, you went to the World Series. And okay, yeah, you guys were the best team, but you didn't go through the fucking ringer to get it. So of your 27 rings, 20 of them were in 1968. I mean, yeah, 20 of them were gotten before 1968. And not to mention, since the luxury threshold became an actual thing, so actually when baseball and business kind of started actually becoming a thing, they've won one. And that's in 2009. So you Yankees fans can go and fucking cry even more. I don't give a fuck because guess what? You guys aren't gonna win. You're in the 27 club, just with all the others. Unfortunately, they were all great people. And guess what? The Yankees, they were a great team, but now they're in the 27 club, and that's, knock on wood, that's where they're gonna remain.
Hey,
Oh
just like
yeah, I
Vlad,
had a vibe.
just like Vladdy and Big Poppy said, the Yankees lose, the Yankees lose.
Oh,
That
they
was
they lost.
And that's Krasner waxing poetic on a
That was
Yankee
wild.
postseason loss. That was beautiful,
Wild.
beautiful thing.
Woo!
Beautiful
I don't
thing.
know. There's something about tooling on the Yankees when they just beat you, though. Like, for me, that kind of takes the bite
Yeah,
away from it
but
a little
but
more.
but
But I still
but
love it.
but they beat a team that wasn't supposed to be in the postseason, and they were championship or bust. And
After
they
that
Yeah,
third game,
just scratched out a win on us because of a bullpen game and our
I- I'd
number
also,
two
I'd
started going
also,
down.
I'd also argue that we all went into the playoffs being like we'd rather play the Blue Jays because we feel like they're the easier team, and they got waxed by the Blue Jays. So I think
did.
the Yankees did lose, and that is an irrefutable fact.
It's a win for
We
Red Sox.
Put
exceeded
it in the books.
expectations and the
Yep.
Yankees lost, so that's a winning season in my eyes.
Yes, it
It's
is.
it's a fact. All right, let's switch it on up. I think we put the Yankees to bed. We'll see them again next spring. I think
They're
I
in
want to talk about
Cancun.
I want to talk about NFL officiating. We talked
Ugh.
about this in the Pat Saints game, and there was a lot of
Not
terrible,
enough.
a lot of terrible calls made in that game. And I think this is also something that the Patriots are going to see a lot this year because we are not like a primetime game for most of them. So we're going to get the Z crew, the D crew, the F crew. We're going to get like kind of the bottom of the barrel, the refs. But I think the thing that was really, really upsetting to me yesterday is the other game that I watched a lot of was the Chiefs and the Lions. And oh my God, was the officiating terrible in that game. First of all, the refs kept the flag in their pocket every single time that the Chiefs did something wrong. Zero flags called against the Chiefs. Of course, it's a primetime game. Taylor Swift's in the box. Caitlin Clark's there. Got to make sure the Chiefs look good. So, suck at NFL for not calling anything against the Chiefs. Another,
Why
Mark,
is Kaden Clark there?
she's friends with Taylor. I don't know. Whatever. We're moving on. I think the big thing that really, really irked me last night
You know
was
a lot about Taylor.
no,
Me
let
too.
me talk about this fact here. All right, let's talk about this the Jared Goff receiving touchdown. Such a cool trick play. Seemed awesome in the moment. A minute and 20 seconds go by before a flag is thrown because Andy Reid and the Chiefs, he wasn't set, Are you fucking kidding me? Like a minute and 20 seconds after the play ended and a touchdown was called for you to throw a flag, that is asinine.
Well,
that
we
is
didn't even
ridiculous.
we didn't even talk about the Pat Saints, and that was more than a minute 20. That was like
They were lining up to kick
Pop,
the PAT.
Bob Douglas was on the bench at that point. Same with Drake May. That was like a solid 3 to 5. I remember texting in the group and I was like, "What the fuck are we doing right now?" Because like that was egregious. And I was listening to Felger and Maz, and I did say jail them before that, but those guys, I'm not kidding. If they have some betting shit going on, that was where it reared its head because that was crazy.
Josh, you might be onto something with the with not with the Farmer's Almanac, but maybe the refs have something to do with
But
Vegas.
it's
Who
like
knows, man?
it is because like you know how many people that's affecting too. Like it's not just it. I'm kind of like kidding about the jail thing, but I'm also kind of being serious because if they are betting on these games and they're affecting it because they are human, and if they're affecting the outcomes of these games, they got to look at them and something should be done about that because they did it in the NBA. Why aren't we doing it for other sports? I don't see why not. They're human. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you got players in all the fucking leagues that are gambling as well. I mean,
Let's look at the refs.
It's so unbelievably accessible. Who knows? I mean, they're never, ever, ever going to let that come to the surface if that's the case, because that's what can bring an entire league down.
Mhm.
But it's suspect.
It'll
I
be
mean, it
kept
goes
under
back to
wraps.
last week with Sean Hockley and how fucking bad that was. It's a ref show, and just stay out of the fucking way. Just stay on the sideline. Call the
It's not your
flags when it's
game.
a thing, and do what you have to do. Otherwise, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear your voice 62 times during the game.
I want the league to start stepping in when there's calls that are made that are so egregiously bad. Like the
But are
offensive
they
pass
are they
interference.
making it? Is the league making those calls though? Like
No,
buzzing
no, no, no,
down?
no. It's all the guys on the field. It's not the league office that's making those
Does
calls.
Goodell
They're
have a
not. They're
little
not. No, they're not stepping all over the refs.
microphone?
But what I
Oh, the
want them to
flag.
do is start stepping all over the refs because if you're gonna call that one play against Diggs, you got to make sure you call the other one against the Saints on Hollins. So
Yeah.
that is my problem is they're not consistent. If they were consistent with the way they called it, I think a lot of us here would not be as angry at the refs. And listen, the Patriots won not because of bad calls or they would have lost because of bad calls. They won because they played better than the Saints did. But we can't have the refs impacting the game in a way that they could change the outcome of the game. Listen, the Chiefs played better than the Lions last night, but that game would have been very different had that been a touchdown instead of a field goal to start the game, and it changed the tenor of how things went because yes, the Lions like to go for it on fourth down, and they did go for it on fourth down, and Amon-Ra dropped the ball, which he does not do. But maybe they don't go for it at that point because maybe they're in a much tighter game and they're not feeling like they need to go for it on fourth down. And then that game is a lot closer than what the score indicated.
Refs
So you want
suck.
to what? The refs suck, and the NFL needs to do something about it.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. I got one little oh yeah, two little oh yeahs, two baby oh yeahs, if you will. It was a Bob and Zoe game for me yesterday. Listening to them on the radio, they do a great job. Like, they really try and illustrate what's going on. Zoe was unbelievably furious with the flag situation. He
Yeah.
he was so mad
Yeah.
on the Hollins non-call PI. He's like, throw the damn ball, and he's like, I meant throw the damn flag. Like, I'm so pissed off. Like. So, great call from Bob and Zoe yesterday, and then
Also known as Zosi.
Zoshi, yes, love it, and a little oh yeah to Gabe's Water Cup tonight, a little throwback to the Oasis in Austin.
It's fucking up with the
That's all
with the
right.
background here. Oh, there
I
we
see
go.
it.
Right
There we go.
I wish I kept
It
my
is.
cup. Damn.
Love that place. Oh, we didn't get the best of sunsets, but what a vibe! If you're ever in Austin, Texas, Lake Travis area, give that place a
Oh
look.
yeah, to those
Oh,
Longhorns.
Yeah,
They
big
had
win.
they had
In
some good frozen
Oklahoma,
margaritas, man.
not close. They fucked them up. So hey,
They
Two-
needed that win.
two-
They needed that win bad too.
They
They'll be
needed
ranked
it
again.
bad.
A
They must be ranked again.
wild week of college football. Oregon goes down to Indiana. So that was crazy. Penn State goes down. Drew Allard, James Franklin
Penn
goes
State.
down.
Out.
James Franklin goes down. James Franklin goes
Out.
down.
out, and the local team, BC Eagles, are fucking trash. So Bill O'Brien
Started
having
off
a
hot
tough
and-
time over there. I mean, there's no other way to put it. BE, they are trash. And next week, our beloved gentleman down in Chapel Hill will be back for us to analyze, and that entire shit show of a situation comes to continue to unfold. So college football, we will recap a little bit more next week. We'll put it on the agenda. Let's take this baby home, fellas. It's time for the Pike driving down. Lots of exits to take this week in terms of games. We got Pat's going to Nashville, another fantastic road trip if you're a Patriots fan. New Orleans and Nashville, like those.
Wow.
We fucked up, boys. Although we did have a couple things on our own schedule going on to prevent us from these trips. But yeah, Pat's down in Nashville. Vrabel revenge game. Bruins, they're shipping out west, Gabe, for a Vegas, Colorado, and Utah swing Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. And then the Boston Celtics kick off their season next Wednesday, 10/22, I believe, versus Philadelphia. We have a very, very, very special guest next week to help us preview the Celtics season and talk all things Celtics. We're going to save it because I will say this. She is fantastic. So we look forward to having her on next week. Gentlemen,
She is Boston sports royalty.
Yes.
that's right. And that's a big clue. If you listen to the podcast, you'll figure that out. Boston Sports Royalty joins us next week.
I'm gonna give another little clue. Her sister plays basketball, and her dad was a sportscaster. So, we'll see.
That might be a lot of clues there, Josh.
Yeah, that might have tipped the scales
at this
into one
point-
direction.
Hey, get the people excited, you know.
At this point, we're going to be having Brittany Griner on next week.
Oh, the wheels have fallen off. I love it.
And that'll do it, near far, wherever you are. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the Boston Sports Brothers. Peace.
See you guys.